Okay, you ready? All right, let's go.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the City of Doral Special Council meeting. Today is April 12th, 2022. It is 4:06 p.m. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilman Oscar Puig Corvey.
Present.
Councilwoman Claudia Mariaca.
Here.
Councilman Pete Cabrera.
Present.
Vice Mayor Digna Cabral.
Present.
Mayor Juan Carlos Bermudez.
Present.
Mayor have quorum.
Could all please rise, face the flag, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Today, we have on the agenda only a discussion of Miami-Dade County Resources Recovery Facility. Nothing else, Mr. City Manager and Mr. City Attorney, correct? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If you're here for the first time, welcome back. If you're here for the umpteenth time, and if you're back, welcome back. So, just a couple of rules that are very important. We're gonna have a discussion on this issue, but we're gonna open up the public comments at the beginning. So we will give you an opportunity to speak to your heart's content at that time within the rules that we have set up. If there's three basic rules that are very important, very simple to follow. If you could, number one, if you're going to speak, you need to fill out. You either have a white card, which is general comment, blue if it's in favor, and yellow if it's opposed. So if you could fill out one of these cards, that's important before you speak. Number two, you have the opportunity to speak. You'll have 3 minutes. There's a clock up here, as you can see. It's like the NCAA tournament. At the 3-minute mark, I'm going to ask you to wrap up your comments and give us finish your comments at that time. Please state your name and address for the record when you speak. Number three, during your public comments portion, you can speak to any item you would like to speak to, including the one that we're here for today. You have the right to criticize me, criticize my colleagues, criticize the administration, even criticize your spouse if you so choose. But you must do it respectfully, because if you do not, the gentleman in the dark blue in the back is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, you need to step outside. So it's never happened, but that's how democracy works. So thank you very much. And again, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here for the umpteenth time, welcome back. We are going to go now to the public comment portion. So those of you who have filled out a card, and I know a number of you have, you understand the rules, and we will begin the public comment portion of this meeting. I will call up Amanda Sherlock.
Amanda Sherlock, resident of both Doral and Miami-Dade for 17 years.
Amanda, just before you go on, I'll read your address, but if you could just...
Sorry, I could read my own address.
Go ahead.
9960 Costa del Sol Boulevard, Doral, Florida, 33178. I just ask that we keep sight of the core issue here, which is that we do not have the infrastructure to process the massive quantities of waste that we are producing in Miami or in Doral. In Doral, we have doubled our population in the last decade. We have residences, restaurants, buildings, and schools for the 80,000 residents, plus all the people who commute here to work every day. All the shipping businesses, International and Dolphin malls, City Place, downtown Doral, all that commerce generates an incredible volume of waste. Cups and takeaway trays and boxes and packaging for meat and fish, we throw it all in the trash. Anyone who has ever had a meat or fish tray sit overnight in their home knows the smell that it can produce. These are our odors. This is our stink. We can't pretend that it's all coming from somewhere else. So are we saying that we just don't want to smell it? If waste collection services didn't come and magically whisk all that away, then we'd have to keep that in our homes. If they did not pick up our residential trash for 1 year, think about how much trash we would have sitting in our homes. Imagine how much trash would be piled up outside of City Place Doral or Dolphin Mall. All over the world, cities are limiting the volume of trash residents and businesses can put out. You can be fined if you don't follow the rules. In Doral and in Miami, we apparently have no limits. Now, I don't know what the final solution looks like, but I know our plan cannot be to keep building higher and higher mountains of trash in some landfill far, far away. There are many other alternatives we can pursue. Maybe the solution can include an MRF facility If it is a true materials recovery facility, one that actually recovers and recycles materials and not a waste to energy facility that burns our trash, the solution is probably not to build a waste to energy facility anywhere. Europe is moving away from waste to energy facilities because they undermine recycling efforts, produce too much carbon emissions, and create the wrong incentives. The EPA recently released guidelines to develop a stronger, more resilient, and cost effective solid waste recycling system and reduce greenhouse gases by putting an emphasis on a circular economy. What can we do in our city and in our county to ensure that businesses operating here are sustainable, that they use reusable plates and cutlery rather than disposable materials and single-use plastics that cannot be recycled? Are there business-to-business opportunities to divert waste from the landfill through ongoing symbiotic relationships? What circular economy solutions can we pursue? The smell is only a symptom and consequence of our wasteful behavior and lack of infrastructure and policies to address it. Instead of focusing on a smell that we are most surely complicit in creating, I just ask that we advocate for a comprehensive solution that includes waste reduction and long-term environmental stewardship at its core. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Gina Romero.
Hello, my name is Gina Romero. As organizer and resident of Doral, I signed to work with the Florida Rising, and I signed working at Activist 2017 in this issue with the garbage.
Gina, your address, please.
10933 Northwest 43rd Lane.
Thank you.
I started working with the landfill of the Medley when it was increased 75 feet. After that, on the moment I'm working with the Covanta incinerator, and I would like to know what is, if you are opposed to continue operating the Covanta incinerator in Doral. I think that is not fair if they want to build right now a new plan, if we have 3 issues that is affecting a daily to all residents. We don't have, with the city of Doral, at the moment, they are not monitoring the air, okay? The pollution that we take all day, every day. We have 8-9 schools around the one incinerator. I think that is not fair, and I'm opposed to building a new plan, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gina. Joseph Correa.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Joseph Correa. I'm a resident of Doral at 7631 Northwest 102nd Place. It's pretty much near to the incinerator. So I didn't write anything. I didn't know we could talk. So, but you know,
It's okay.
first, you know, I kind of wanted. I've attended to the Doral Coalition meetings in the park. I've attended to her meeting. I forgot, Florida Rising. I mean, there seems to be a lot of different organizations that are trying to, you know, prevent this renewal. So I kind of wanted to, you know, ask you guys, maybe if it's legal or not legal, I don't know, to kind of have like a roadmap. Like, we don't want to waste time and resources in different projects when we maybe should focus all of our energy on one way to do it, right? I know there's a meeting tomorrow and stuff like that, but this is an issue that, as she mentions, I mean, affects the city of Doral. I get it. I've been to meetings with the mayor before where, you know, this incinerator was here before Doral even existed, or, you know, they started developing all these new communities. But we also have to look at, you know, the data across the United States and the whole world. I mean, if I remember correctly, in one of the presentations before, they said that, you know, there's out of 73 incinerators, they've closed them all down. The last one was built in like 2000 because they're inefficient. All countries are moving to better ways of renewable energy. And I mean, we're in Miami-Dade. We're growing as a city, and we still have to be stuck with the most inefficient energy just because it costs them more money to maintain. Like, I don't get why is it so hard to convince the city of Miami-Dade, not the Doral, because I know we're trying to do the best we can, but like Miami-Dade, to move it away, to look for a new way of doing it. And that's pretty much it. Just to kind of get some guidance from you guys, because I know you guys can't do it alone. I know in Detroit a couple years ago, they had one, they closed it down because, people literally put chains around the facility so the workers, nobody could get in to put pressure. You guys can't do it alone. You guys need our help, but kind of have a better or a clear roadmap. As the mayor before sent letters, I'm a member of my community. I've sent the letters, forwarded to them. We emailed the mayor, the city, to kind of put pressure, but we don't know if that's actually working out. So we're trying to get here answers from you guys as to a clearer roadmap to get there.
Thank you, Joseph. Sebastián Caicedo.
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Sebastian Caicedo. I work with Florida Rising. I reside at 1700 Northeast 105th Street, Miami, Florida 33138. As I say, I work for Florida Rising as a regional director. We are a nonprofit organization working with residents of Doral. And we would like to ask, what is your position with the renewal of the Covanta permit to continue running the garbage incinerator, and if you will commit to air quality and water assessment? Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Yvette Gonzalez Petkovich.
Absolutely. My voice is naturally loud, so it works out good. A little hoarse today, but that's okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and the rest of you on the dais. Thank you for your service. My name is Yvette Gonzalez Petkovich. I'm a resident here in Doral. My address is 10352 Northwest 46th Terrace, Doral, Florida 33178. And I'm here in several capacities, but I'm going to start with the most important one, which has to do with the Doral Community Coalition and my role as president of this particular organization. You've already have heard it mentioned as an organization that's been involved in this issue, I believe, long before I even became involved with it, but undoubtedly, since I became the leader of this organization, it became clear to me that this was probably the number one issue that needed to be dealt with in this city. I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, and what you have done to educate the city. I know the complexities of how this issue is intertwined with the county and the county's authority and leadership, and I recognize wholeheartedly how complicated this issue is. Nonetheless, I congratulate you for the way in which you've been working through it and attempting to assist the residents as much as possible. That being said, what I want to impress upon all of you today is, I think what's the most important message and the most important part of the discussion is to impress upon residents how crucial attendance at tomorrow's hearing at the Government Center down at the Stephen P. Clark Building in downtown Miami will be. This is my opinion, and this is my opinion. I think that if we lose tomorrow and this Miami-Dade County resolution passes, the chances of us being able to resolve this issue is close to zero. So please, Mayor, I ask that each and every one of you use whatever resources are available to you to communicate the urgency of tomorrow's hearing. What we know, first of all, Doral has this incredible sense of community that the rest of the county, in my eyes, is almost envious of. And my hope, the coalition has sent out email after email over the last 3 or 4 days reminding people to be here. Almost 4,000 people have signed our petition. I was hoping this room wouldn't even fit the amount of people, and yet we still have empty chairs. We need the community to get involved, and I think the only way to do that is to impress upon them that tomorrow may actually be our last, and I don't mean to be negative, I promise you. I know that the courts, I'm an attorney myself, a former prosecutor, I know how difficult it is to deal with these things, but I think what's most important is for the message of the urgency in tomorrow's hearing to be heard loud and clear. That was the beep. So with that, I want to thank you wholeheartedly. And for those of you who showed up, more power to us. Please come tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. Okay, Cesar Abarca.
I was planning to speak in Spanish because I'm not a fully bilingual person. I don't know if we have here somebody who can do it. If not, I can do my best. All right?
Connie, you want to translate? You
Okay.
don't want to translate. Okay, you're doing very well, Cesar. Your address.
Thank you. First of all,
Yeah, your address, Cesar. La dirección. Your address.
okay, my name is Cesar Abarca, and I live in 104 69 Northwest, 69th Terrace in Doral, Florida, just in the backyard of the Covanta no waste energy garbage incinerator, just to put the thing in the right perspective for everybody, because we don't want to trick ourselves, all right? Secondly, I want to say thanks to Mayor Bermudez and his team in the city of Doral for the initiative they had taken in order to challenge this proposal that is coming out. So we have to be, I would say, everybody gathering around and support the initiative of the Mayor Bermudez, okay? I'm gonna put my time in this perspective. For me, leadership is the most important things in life, because the leaders are those who lead the community in the right direction. That is key. In this case, I would like to assess the leadership that is proposing this project from different perspectives. Very important, and very important that somebody can tell her or him, how to, I would say, reflects about the decision that it is about to be made. Number one, a good leader, a good community leader has to align in first place with the community interest. That's number one alignment, all right? So based on this first statement, I will say that this proposal is not responding to the interests of the community. There are many reasons, and I won't go over this because it's a very complex and long stuff. But I would say that we live the community currently in a what we call cumulative contamination area. Why it is a community contamination area? Because there are different sources of contamination. Okay, just to mention a couple of them, we got Covanta in the first place. We got all the sanitation truck that come here in second place, which is derived from Covanta. We have also the mainland landfill. We have also here the traffic of Doral. I don't know how many cars, but I estimate between 20 to 25,000 cars that circulate in the city. So this is by definition and by the fact a contaminated area that cannot continue being bombarded by this kind of decision that is about to make. This is very important. The second thing, this project is not alignment with the community, nor is alignment with the policies of the federal government. Neither is alignment with the EPA, nor is alignment with the social cost for the community. I want to make those 4 points, which are very important. And the last one, the cost is in this project, the number one is the cost, because this project is being presenting from the saving standpoint, but not from the social economic standpoint for the community.
Thank you,
Right.
Cesar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Roberto Spangaro.
If you speak, you are on a phone here, so somebody left the
Somebody's phone? Oh. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Norberto Spangaro, 9482 Northwest 49 Doral Lane. I'm here representing my grandchildren, not me, because this is not going to affect me at my age. I was very interested to hear Amanda because she brought another element of this very complex and delicate issue. But there is something, I'm not going to comment about waste management and everything else in terms of how process, because that's not my specialty, but I always work in my life with ethics, responsibility, and transparency. What is very interesting to see is for something that is so important, that is going to affect the life of Doral for the next 40 years, many of us won't see. This is being, using an English expression of something we say in English, in Spanish, is being cooked in a very short time period. When somebody who is promoting this is leaving his post in August of this year, if this is closed before August, locking out the possibility of exploring alternatives outside of Doral, we are stuck for the next 40 years. Now, I'm not good in literature, but somebody said that something smelled bad in Denmark. Well, something smells bad in Doral, and something smells bad in the county. We should all be there to express this, because this is affecting 40 years of the life of citizens of Doral, residents of Doral, without us being involved and expressing our needs, our thoughts, without the best representatives we have for the city of Doral, which are sitting here. In downtown Miami, they're going to make our future very different if we don't act. It smells bad in the county. This is very serious, very serious. And I want to thank all of you, because all of you are working with us. You're truly representing us. And that also reminds me, when we vote sometimes not thinking. The county and other entities in this country are very important to us, not only our city. This is a reflection of what is happening today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norberto. All right.
I need 1 minute outside. There is a list from the coalition of people to sign up. If you want transportation to go to the county meeting tomorrow, we will leave the city hall at 12:45 for the meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are finished with the forums. Is there anybody else that would like to speak at this time? Okay, we will close the public comment portion. Before we start, I'd like to recognize Odell Torres in the back, who was a former Doral Community Council member and one of the activists that helped found the city. It's good to see him again. He doesn't seem to age. So welcome back, Odell. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I call this meeting because very simple reason. As you all know, it was on the agenda for tomorrow in any case, but we had to move it up. So I'm going to give you an update, and what you have in your packet, obviously, is the memorandum. You also have the February 11th, 2022 memorandum from Mayor Levine Cava to Chairman Diaz and the Board of County Commissioners, the report evaluating options for countywide recycling after the county's current single curbside recycling contract expired in 2023. And then finally, you also have the item, which is agenda item number 2C at tomorrow's Chairman's Policy Committee meeting. Excuse me. Just to give you a couple of updates, obviously, you know, I sent a email to Chairman Diaz this weekend on Sunday, advising him and requesting that if there is going to be an item, that the item not be limited to a facility in the city of Doral, but look at other options, not only in the city of Doral, but across the county and even outside of the county if need be. Not limiting it to the facility that is referenced to in his memorandum. I did have a conversation with him yesterday morning, and I just spoke to him at about 3:15. It's my understanding he may amend the item to include other areas of the county that may be looked at. Now, the only thing I'll tell you, the criteria as it exists, makes reference to some of the permitting that's already there that limits it to this site. So I've expressed to Chairman Diaz that I'm in total disagreement with that. I believe we have here a representative. Where is he? Tomas, where are you? There you are. From Mayor Levine Cava's office. We've had conversations with Jimmy Morales and with Mayor Levine Cava. And I know that there are opportunities to look at other sites, not only in District 12, but across the county and maybe even in Southwest Broward that would give us a new facility. It could be a public-private partnership, and it would be something that would not be within the city of Doral. I think the position, that we've been very clear on, all of us, and I've been very clear on in speaking to the chairman, is if there is going to be a new facility with technology changing the way it is, that it be the most modern, the one that technologically is the most effective, and certainly that it wouldn't be within an area where there's already a number of residents and businesses. So there are opportunities, not only, like I said before, in District 12, but in other parts of the county to go ahead and do this. Now, I will tell you this, the request, if you read the memorandum and if you read the report, is for a public-private partnership. I'm a little bit concerned about that because a public-private partnership can work in a way where a private entity can make a proposal first. I believe, and I might as well let you all know, that I believe Florida Power and Light will probably be making a proposal. That doesn't make it right, and the proposal would be to build it right on this site. Obviously, they are an energy company. We have a gentleman here who's a Doral resident who used to work for Covanta. And with all due respect to Covanta, you've had a good ride. It's been 40 years. The plant was built before most of us lived here. That's true. But it's also true that Miami-Dade County permitted Doral Park, where my good friend Tom lives, some Covanta individuals, and where I live, in Doral Isles, which was built before that, where Odell lives. All of these places were built and were permitted to be built by Miami-Dade County. In fact, the section to the north, between 97th and 107th, we were the only city to have, and Odell knows this well, the only city to have in its charter the county controlling the zoning in its largest undeveloped area. The county turned that from industrial to residential. And once it was turned from industrial to residential, it was impossible for us. We opposed it. The three gentlemen to my left were there with me when we opposed it publicly. It passed by a 12-0 vote. We actually went to court to make sure that we lowered the density, but we couldn't change it back to industrial because there's a thing called the Burt Harris Act, which I'll let the attorney talk about, that once property owners have certain property rights, the city could be sued if you try to deny those rights. We were able to reduce the density. In fact, it's part of the reason why we have Doral Glades Park, but we were not able, obviously, to change what the county had already approved, which was residential for that area. So the argument that the city of Doral was responsible for building around this facility is not really the fault of the city of Doral. It is, and including in my case where I live in Doral Isles, something that was approved, and many of you that live in Doral Park, before by Miami-Dade County. So I think that the most important thing, and what I'd like to talk about today, is to leave here with a consensus on a resolution of what we would ask, both of Chairman Diaz and the commission and Mayor Levine Cava, number one. Number two, give instruction to our city attorney and our manager as to what positions we're going to take moving forward, and how far we're willing to defend our interest. I know my opinion, but we need to discuss it. Hopefully tomorrow, I still think we should, as many of us should be there. Tomorrow, unfortunately, we have council meetings all day, but hopefully we have some residents there. But hopefully tomorrow there will be an amended proposal that will not limit this to this site. But nevertheless, I believe we should be willing to work not only with Chairman Diaz, with Commissioner Diaz, with the County Commission, with Mayor Levine Cava, but we have to protect the interest not only of the city of Doral, because I say this not only as a policymaker, as mayor of the city of Doral. I think it's good policy if you're a Miami-Dade County Commissioner and if you're a Miami-Dade County Mayor to consider all options, not to lock yourself into one option when you don't have to. for three different reasons. Number one, because it's the right thing to do and it's good public policy. Number two, I think that the impact of the cost of a brand new facility, if you are going to have a public-private partnership, should be open to not just one entity, but a number of different entities that could give you the best opportunity to not have an impact on the taxpayers of Miami-Dade County. And number three, as I said before, with technology changing the way it is, I think that we need to analyze whether or not a waste-to-energy plant, many of which have been closing across the country, is the best decision to make. Or do we find something more technologically expedient that, I want to use the word expedient, something that would be more feasible in the long run, wherever it may go, whether it's in Doral, whether it's in Sweetwater, whether it's in the city of Miami. You know, I have an opinion that we have to leave here today clearly, because unfortunately in politics, dividing and conquer is a tactic that many times the Miami-Dade County leadership has used with municipalities. We need to leave here with a clear consensus, the five of us, of where we stand on this, so that there is no confusion. So that's the reason the meeting we were going to discuss this tomorrow anyways. We've sped it up because of the agenda item being placed on by Commissioner Diaz, ironically. So let's leave here with an idea. We'll start with Councilman Mariaca, then we'll go to the Vice Mayor, and then we'll go in this direction.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. I do want to start by saying the following, and I think if I can ask the city manager, I know we have the Explorer mini bus that we've used before for shuttling people to meetings. So if I could make a request to have that available for some of the residents that want to use it tomorrow to shuttle from here to Miami-Dade and back. Would that be okay? If the rest of my colleagues are okay with that?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes?
Anybody have any objection? No. All right.
Okay, so we will make that available. It's not huge. It's about, I think it's about 30 people, really? Well, we'll give you guys an idea, first come, first served basis, but it's a little easier for everybody to get over there. You don't have to worry about parking or whatnot. But I do want to express the following. It's very easy for the commissioners to sit downtown in Miami-Dade and make decisions when it doesn't really affect any of them directly in a negative way, because we don't have a single person on the dais over there right now that resides anywhere near the city of Doral. It has been very disappointing not to have them come down here and participate in meetings like this. I do want to thank Tomas. Unfortunately, you have to come kind of as a bystander, but it would be great for actually to have engagement on their part and to listen to the concerns. In the past, this council has been criticized for not being active on this issue. The fact is that we have no saying over what happens in that facility. Now is the time to act, and now is why we're doing this, because it is up for renewal and there's an opportunity for change. What does everybody need to do? You need to be there tomorrow. And if you can't, you need to email every single commissioner up there with your concerns. Recycling is great, the plant is great, it needs an upgrade. But keep in mind that if they think it's such a wonderful idea, then I expect at least 3 or 4 of those commissioners from other districts to raise their hand and say, why don't you come check out one of my cities to put up the new plant? Because it seems to me this is one of those not in my backyard ideas. It's great, just keep it away from my city and my district. So now is the time to come up with options. This isn't just about the smell. The city has done a lot of studies regarding any type of pollution or anything that's negative in the water or the air. That is really not our concern. Our concern is the odor that affects the quality of life, and also the traffic of those trucks that have to come in and out. If that facility grows any more, we're gonna have more of those trucks sitting out there waiting to go into the line, more of those trucks dumping that trash on those roads, and those are roads afterwards that need to be repaved constantly because of those the traffic of those huge utility trucks that take the garbage. So what I hope to see coming forward from the county, right now they want to spend money on finding firms to do this when we're still fighting for the renewal of the contract. So I don't understand why they're getting so far ahead when they're still considering the contract. We need to have our voices heard. You guys need to help us out on that. And we really need to come up with some kind of win-win situation for us and our residents. Right now, the city of Doral, in my opinion, on the county level, has only been in a lose-lose situation, and we need to turn that around. And if we're not gonna have a commissioner that's gonna give us that type of representation, then we need to fight for it ourselves. So I hope that many of you can make it. If not, please write. And Mr. Mayor, on my behalf, I think legally we should do whatever we can moving forward to make sure that we can fight this on every level, considering that this is our one chance in the next number of decades to do anything about this facility. And again, it's about finding the win-win. It's not about just pushing Covanta out and not recycling. We want it to happen. We want it to happen in a modern facility. Just let's be fair and look at other areas in the county. Let's not hurry this up just because you want something done before you leave office. That's not fair to us.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Well, following the comments from the Councilwoman Mariaca, first of all, thank you so much for all of you being here. This is great seeing so many faces that are united. And for those that I know that right now they're working, but they're looking at us and they're going to be supporting us so we can keep moving forward with this nonsense from our county commissioner that is not really truly representing us as we have always commented. I mean, he's supposed to be the one looking after us and being our voice in the county. And as you can see, this is the opposite of what he's doing. He's not really representing us. And we are trying as our best to get as much as information to try to work together. And that's something that I also wanted to thank the office of the mayor, because I know that when I called, Thomas right away picked up and went over to look into this resolution when I contacted him, and given the information that actually our mayor is looking, and that was what she spoke with you, Mr. Mayor, that looking for other ways that this plan can be moved. And like the councilwoman says, we are not here because we don't support recycling. We do, and we want things to be in a responsible way. But the same way, we've been in the plant, and we know how is the plant at the facility. It is right now working, so we know that it's not effective, and it's affecting all of us. I can tell you that I live on the north side, so I have suffered firsthand everything, as also the mayor lives close by of this facility, and how on the weekends we suffer with our families when it's the time for us to spend time with them and enjoy our lives. So it's really bringing down our quality of life. So we are here because we are against this, and we're going to do everything in our hands. I can tell you that when I went to Washington and met with the EPA, they also are trying to find a way to support and to look for a better ways and resources to be able to support us. And Mr. Mayor, I'm very grateful that you went back into the history and explained how it was, before the city existed or was created, in the sense that many of the residents don't understand how it was the beginning of this and how the residential was approved and the rezoning, something that is so important because it is used, unfortunately, during campaign to use it misinforming the community. So thank you for clarifying that, so the residents know exactly how things work. But we're here, like the mayor said, to do our best, and we are not going to stop. And regardless if of whatever the commission is trying to do, we're going to work together, and we hope that the other commissioners also look into this issue and understand the city of Doral, what we are going through, and what we don't want our kids and our, not just in the immediate, but not on the near future, but on the long run, that we don't want our residents to go through what we have suffered in the past years.
Okay.
Maybe went back in history, and I'll share a quick story, and I want to highlight a couple points for food for thought for all of you. I moved to Doral 34 years ago. When I was buying my home in Doral Park, they made me sign. It wasn't fine print. It was an entire page that said that the resource recovery, the waste trash burning facility, had been renovated, but that we may still smell odors from time to time. This is a true story. So I read that, and I had to sign off on it. And I remember thinking to myself, well, it can't be that bad. Otherwise, the government wouldn't allow it. Isn't that funny? And I signed it, thinking that was my thought process. I came to find out different. Every Sunday when I was going to do a barbecue, I had to go inside my house because it was horrible. I used to live on 102nd, right off of 97th Avenue and 52nd Street, my first home. And I've lived with it, and some years have been worse than others. And it's also, I think, very important that we keep in mind that we're not only just dealing with the resource recovery, we also have a landfill north of us. And that's something else that at some point in time, and we need to continue to tackle, because we have tried to tackle both these issues since the creation of our city. This one opens up an opportunity, like Councilwoman Mariaca was saying now, because it's up for renewal. So it opens up a window. But something also came to my mind I want to share with you, because it's always this statement, well, they were here before us. Well, the reality is they were here 40 years ago, but times have changed. The city has changed. Technology has changed. To say they were here before us and to continue to do the same thing over and over again is stupidity, total stupidity. And as far as what County Hall is smelling, I think it's been smelling for a very, very long time, because the reality is this issue needed to have been dealt with years ago. They need to start planning because they knew this day was coming, and they knew they were dealing with a facility that was 40 years old. Why or not? Because they don't care. It's easier to let it go, and it's our problem, not their problem, as has been said before. So I think this has to be tackled now. Now, one thing to keep in mind, two things. This is not the last bite of the apple. Hopefully some things will get fixed. I did talk to the commissioner today also. He told me he will be opening it up to make sure this is just getting the process going, and they'll consider other areas. My concern for that is that right now the footprint for this type of facility is massive. There's not too many areas that can handle that. So and I've done some research and I've sent it out to the county, and I'll send it out again. There's facilities that I've seen they're not licensed here yet, but I don't know why not, that they fit on a footprint of 5 acres. This is like a 110 acre or 100 acre parcel. 5 acres parcels can be put up in 1 year. Now, it's just a matter of investigating all this new technology Armando was talking about. It's not just about, because if you start looking for another nobody wants this massive thing in their backyard, and it's true. So the key is not that. We got to look at new technology that's smaller footprints, has less side effects, and there is. Some of these are self-contained completely. Why are they not looking at this? I don't know, because I've brought it up to some of them in the past. I've sent them the information I've received, but it's not happening, and we got to make it happen. And I think one of the things that we also have to be on alert on, very, very important, we're not just talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow, even if it gets denied, is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem comes October. Because October, if from here to October there isn't some kind of alternative plan B in place, nothing's going to happen. And then we're going to get stuck with a 40-year-old facility there. So that's the real target. The target is the October deadline, that we must make sure that now, regardless of what they're doing, they must say they will not renew that for 20 years. Because remember, it's not about renewing it. It's auto-renews if they don't cancel it. So the pressure currently has to be on them canceling that contract effective October 23rd. And whatever happens from that point forward has to be a whole totally understanding, depending on what we can figure out from here to October. But right now, the biggest emphasis for me is that a message must be sent that October deadline must be canceled now, as soon as possible. And if nothing else, it has to be tied into any proposal they're putting forward right now. Even this proposal must carry that language in there. The October deadline, we are requesting cancellation of the contract. Figure out plan B afterwards, but that has to come first, because that's the only guarantee we have, regardless, because if a new facility comes, it'll be a new contract. If it's there, wherever it is, it'll be a new contract. But this one has to stop. Otherwise, we're going to keep living with a 40-year facility that's outdated, completely outdated. So I think it's about uniting. I think the timing is now. I think we must unite everybody. Unfortunately, we have a council meeting tomorrow, but as I said, there will be another bite at the apple. Tomorrow is a committee meeting. It will go to the full commission at some day in the future. Hopefully, it'll be a day that we don't have a council meeting, so the entire council could be there, and we could rally as much of the community to join us there that day. And the message to the county has to be in the mayor's office also is this is a community-wide issue. This isn't Doral's trash that's going there. This is a community, county-wide issue that we're facing, and it has to be a community and county-wide solution, not Doral's solution only. And that's the message we got to get across. And the story that has been there from before we were here is no longer any valid. That is outdated, out of technology. You don't have hospitals that are 50, 60 years old with outdated equipment without renovating that equipment. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in today's world. And technology today changes in days sometimes. So we must demand that be the case. And if they're going to take new technology, it doesn't have to be in Doral. There's many places that they can find that is not in such a highly dense population as we have here in Doral, and such a critical to the entire economy of the region. So hopefully we'll communicate our message to them and they'll get the message across. I think the commissioner is trying to find the solution, but unfortunately, I don't think this is it. I think we got to keep pushing to get a better solution.
Councilman Puig-Corvey.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. And it's such a short notice that we had to announce. And yes, I agree with everyone that stood up here and expressed their concerns today. As you are, I am also a resident. I've been here 22 years and I've suffered the smell, and God knows what else we are suffering from that facility because of the facility. Whether it's intoxication, long-term disease, whatever it is, we don't know. And so because of that, and to ditto what every one of my colleagues said, my position is to close it. It's not to find another place. I will hate to see another area being affected the same way we have been for so many years. Yes, the facility was here before. You can give me all the excuses, I guess, to either replace it here on site or place it somewhere else. But the way I look at it, they cannot even sell the ash to make blocks for, I don't know, for buildings that have, I don't know, contaminated stuff in it. So to me, it's very simple. I support you guys. I'm another resident that believes that this plant has to be closed, period. That's my position. Thank you.
Before we determine what action we're going to take, I just wanted to point out a couple of things which are very important, and some of my colleagues mentioned that, is we've never really had a chance to weigh on this because this was approved for a 20-year contract the year before the city got incorporated. So we were not able to oppose it back then as a city because we didn't necessarily exist. We were in the process of trying to incorporate. We were going through a Doral Municipal Advisory Committee and a number of other entities that were getting us to a vote in December of 2002. And eventually a vote on cityhood in January. So, sometimes people have asked me, well, why haven't you done anything about it? Well, there's a 20-year contract, and the contract is coming up now this October. Obviously, if the county does not notice Covanta, there is an automatic renewal, which is of great concern, as expressed before by Councilman Cabrera. And in speaking to the mayor, I think there's many options. If the answer is to buy a little bit of time, then the extension of the contract doesn't have to be for 20 years. It could be for a very much shorter period. In fact, maybe even year to year until they find a new site. But it does not have to be a 20-year contract. Now, if the county does not, and Tomas, I want you to listen to this because I know you're going to take the message back. If the county does not take a position, then we're in a lot of trouble. So, and the request I've made of Mayor Levine Cava is to obviously take that into account. I think she's understood that. And speaking to Commissioner Diaz yesterday and today, I am appreciative of the fact that he is going to recommend that, or potentially has stated that he will amend on the day as tomorrow, this to include other areas besides Doral. But there is one part of the whereas clause that concerns me. And if my colleagues want to look, it's page 7 of the proposed ordinance, where it says, whereas the construction of a new WTE, waste to energy facility at the same site as the resource recovery facility saves the county the time delay from identification or acquisition of a new site, additional permitting and zoning approvals and other requirements. I have expressed to the commissioner that that's the part that I disagree with, because if you're going to argue, I would rather have the county take a position that they're going to take an additional couple of years if they're going to have a new site somewhere else, but not support a proposal that says that we're going to be at this site. It's obvious that this site, or the adjacent site to this site, is going to be the only one that fills that criteria. I've expressed to Commissioner Diaz that that's the one whereas clause which I absolutely disagree with, because it would lock us into just this site. So I want my colleagues to keep that in mind when we discuss what we're going to do.
Can I add that? Because I'm not sure there may be other potential sites that could be nearby. So to make sure that if something's found that's nearby and it's not solving the problem, then that's not acceptable either.
Right. I mean, I think, look, realistically, if you look to the north, we have a city, Medley, where, and I've got a lot of friends in Medley, so if you live there, don't take this personally, but the city is probably zoned already 60 to 70% for facilities of this type. There are places even within District 12. There may even be, and Tomas knows this probably better than I do, the possibility of doing something with our neighbors to the north in Broward County in areas that would serve both counties. I just think that all these things have to be explored. What I would like today as a council is to take a position with a resolution that we can get not only to the chairman tomorrow, but to the members of that committee as a body collectively expressing our point of view that we are not in support of the existing resolution as it is written today.
So move.
Second.
Okay?
Mr. Mayor, one question, just for clarification, because I know we've discussed the renewal of the contract a few months ago when it first came up and it popped in our radar and everything. Did we send out a resolution regarding that as well? Do we have anything on the record on that?
I'd have to check, Councilwoman. I know that the mayor took the position for the
Right, I
council.
know we've taken that position before, I just don't recall if we made an official.
I think that we did. Yeah,
think it was-
pretty
it was
sure
from
we
here.
did, and we sent a
We
letter.
were on
and
the
everything.
dais, I
Yeah.
remember perfectly, because it was another meeting that none of us could get to, because it seems that they always overlap.
We did.
And listen, I just want to reiterate one other thing to our residents. Please keep up with the city postings and what the mayor posts online, because that's the best way to find out when these meetings are coming up, because sometimes they try to catch up even us offhand. They'll bring up these last minute resolutions, or they'll put something in the agenda that we might not know, and their agendas are a heck of a lot longer than ours, so they're harder to find. So just keep in mind to pay attention to what's happening, so you can keep track of the moments that you need to reach out to your commissioners going forward regarding these issues. So
One additional point on that note also, it's important that if you're going to write emails or call, you don't just call the chair's office, our commission. You call the entire commission and the mayor's office to make sure and everybody you talk to tell them the same thing. It's important that they all hear this is a county-wide issue. It's not just Dural's issue and our commissioner's issue. It's everybody. We all have to find a solution together, a modern solution. Armando was saying something that's really based on today's technology, and that's not what's happening right now. So I think that's very important.
and councilman, just also because they all gonna vote on this, so.
That's what I'm saying. They're the ones that are going to vote.
It's not just our commissioner, every single one of them is gonna vote on this, so reach out to them and remind them that although they don't live here, they still represent each and every one of you at that vote.
So we have a motion on the table that we're going to oppose the resolution as it exists, correct?
Correct.
Let's take a
Yes.
vote on that first, and we'll come back and have further discussion on other issues.
Okay, perfect.
Motion to oppose the resolution as attached into the agenda item, Miami-Dade County Resolution, made by Councilman Cabrera, seconded by Councilwoman Mariaca. Councilman Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mariaca.
Yes.
Councilman Corvée.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cabral.
Yes.
Mayor Bermudez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now, moving forward, there's two things, and this is good for those of you that are going there tomorrow to note that county rules on public comment have changed. So tomorrow may be the only opportunity to possibly have, it's supposed to be 2 opportunities, 2 bites at the apple, but it's not what the rules are today. And there's been limitations of time. We stick to our time. That's not, they're just, I want you to keep that in mind, because the rules are not exactly the same at the county, and they are flexible, and they do change sometimes based on who's chairing the meeting. Now, the second thing I think we need to do is we need to instruct our city attorney and our manager on what we are willing to do moving forward, regardless of what happens tomorrow. I mean, I know that Covanta was here the other day, and let me rephrase that. Covanta's representatives were here meeting with the manager and the city attorney, and that's wonderful. And so was Mr. Fernandez, who heads waste management, to try to put in some sensors across the city. That's wonderful. But in the long run, if the facility is not there, we don't need the sensors. So, you know, the minute that, and I want to be clear, we're not the ones putting the sensors, okay? Because we've had them before, but this was proffered by Covanta. My only concern with that, Mr. Manager and Mr. City Attorney, and I don't know if you're willing to discuss what you discussed with them, is number one, they still got to get permits like everybody else. But number two, I don't want people to get the impression that our solution is simply to allow Covanta to put out sensors across the city. That may give the impression that something is coming, and we're just going to monitor try to improve the smell, et cetera. I don't know specifically, but I'm going to turn it over to both of you so you can give us a synopsis of that discussion.
I like to make a statement before the fact. I think that's a little bit too little too late. I believe that at this point in time, it's not the right time to do something like that. It's misleading, it's confusing, it can cause confusion. They could say the smell isn't coming from there. And I personally, again, too little too late. I'm not supportive of that at this point in time. That's my position.
All right, if you guys could let us know exactly what Covanta proposed in this meeting. Sorry, but I got to put you on the spot, but it was
It's
a
quite
public
all right,
meeting, so you
sir.
might as well let us know.
Well, at the meeting, they prefaced that it's an unproven technology from Australia, so it's never been used in the United States, so they don't know if it's going to work. The technology is essentially, in addition to an odor sensor, it's supposed to work with and anticipate weather patterns so that it can help identify the source of an odor, not just give you a metered reading of an odor, but through using weather patterns, that's technology would allow them to pinpoint the actual source of the odor. So that's really what the sensor does. It's more than just giving you a metric reading, but also helping Covanta identify, if the source is coming from Covanta versus another source in the city. That's essentially the technology. What the purpose of the meeting was to provide the city with information and let us know to the area.
Since I've been at this so long, I find it interesting that meeting took place right before there's some movement at the county, and not that, I question everything that happens at the county, but, when the county, the director of waste for the county comes with the operator of the facility with a proposal of that type, and then there's movement on a potential site within the city of Doral, it starts to really concern me. And I just wanted to make sure that both of you understood it as the individuals that deal with Covanta directly, that it is a concern for me.
And see, there go faith.
Yeah.
Well, and for everybody out there, these are, what are they called? Enos?
EnviroSuite, Enos, Ambient.
Enos.
I was going to say it so everybody
So,
that's
I-
interested in knowing.
Yeah, I don't have an E-nose, but I have my nose. And when I drive on 97th to take my daughter to school, I know where it smells. And I visited the facility and I know where it smells. So I don't really need, so my concern, as you said, Mr. Mayor, is them coming up, putting these unproven technology monitors up around the city just to justify that, hey, oh my goodness, look at this. We didn't find anything wrong. Our e-noses didn't detect anything. Well, I invite the commissioners to come down, drive around 97th, and tell me if your e-nose matches those readings, because it's pretty clear to me where that's coming from. So I guess they're going to put it in private areas, so it's up to them to decide what they're going to do and go through the permitting. We don't have a say necessarily in it, but I just want everybody out there to understand this isn't something that's approved by this council, and I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I think we're kind of on the same level. And this is not anything that we are standing behind and saying, great, we trust what you guys are gonna do. I do, Mr. Mayor, would like to say, if we don't have a resolution on the record regarding the opposition of the renewal on the contract, that's something that we need to do at some
Thought
point.
we had one
too.
on there, but I think we
Just in
can
case,
look
we-
at it, and tomorrow we could be
Yeah, we can bring
reconsider
it up in tomorrow's meeting if we don't have anything officially in the
I think
record.
we did have a resolution.
I'm pretty sure we do.
We
but
did,
just-
we did at that
Right.
time. We actually voted and we
Hey,
did.
we
at
were
that
on the
time.
dais.
Yeah.
And then anything we need to do legally going forward regarding that renewal of the contract, and I don't know where the EPA,
Well, I think what we need to do today is empower the attorney and the manager to take all the proper steps moving forward. The other thing that concerns me, and I am a supporter of public-private partnerships, because it's a way that government, such as the county, could probably fund something that's going to cost over $1 billion, because that's what a new plant will cost. It'll be over $1 billion, which is 1/9 of the existing county budget. So I don't, you're not going to find, if you do that, you're definitely going to impact. And by the way, it's the county budget. It's not our budget, so they're going to end up hurting a lot of people. But my concern with the public-private partnership is that due consideration be given to all parties to proffer, as opposed to having just one single proposal. I'd have the same concern if I was at the county dais, okay? You know, I've been asked, and I've been told by some people, well, you're doing that because you're the mayor of Doral. No, my position is based on being a resident of Miami-Dade County. It would be the same position whether I live somewhere else. It was the same issue, same position I told Commissioner Diaz on the annexation. If the rules are the rules, they got to apply for everybody. You can't change them and exclude certain people and keep others. So, you know, from my perspective, what I would like to do today, and I don't know if we need to do this by either a vote or can we do it by consensus, is instruct both of you to essentially do whatever you need to do and find out if we need to contract experts, but do whatever we need to do to make sure that we are opposing this facility in the city of Doral. I know the city attorney and I have had discussions with some national organizations that reached out to me. They have clearly pointed out that these types of facilities are not that common anymore. Number one, because of the change of technology, but other things, other issues, environmental issues that have been brought up. But I do think we need to take a more proactive approach. Up to now, we've been, you know, and I'm all for working with our county commissioner and with our fine mayor through Tomas over here. And I've said this to Jimmy Morales, by the way, he used to be our city attorney who happens to be involved with this also. But I think we need to empower both of you, and particularly you, Mr. City Attorney, to you know, do what you need to do to put us in the best position if we have to take a step, whether it be legal or otherwise, to do it at the right time and not after something has occurred. And I don't know how to phrase the motion. I would leave that to you. And I don't know if my colleagues have any opposition to that.
No, absolutely not.
Because we,
For 100%.
so
What I'd propose, Mr. Mayor, is just consensus, we'll look at the issue and come back to the council with a recommendation. And at that juncture, we would have we'd have a written resolution that would have more teeth to it. But I can move forward with what you're directing, and then come back with recommendations rather than just.
I know we rarely do this, but if you can come back with that as soon as possible.
I don't want to ruin your Tuesday night, but we have a meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, not that
let me
quite.
tell you, he's
no, but
awake
I was
since-
going to
since-
say, if we need to call a special meeting just to make sure we're ready to do
His
that.
work time started like at 3 in the
We
morning.
have it tomorrow
and I know
afternoon.
Around 3 because I wake up at 4:30, so at 3 o'clock he's up working already.
I can,
so.
but I think I've got enough direction to, if we need to hire an expert and so forth moving forward. But as we develop a plan of attack, I would bring that back to the
Yeah,
council.
and the reason why I tell you that is because while I'm very appreciative of the mayor's report through the through the waste, which I think Mr. Fernandez was very involved in this, the memorandum that you have, the report evaluating the options. You know, I think those were, you know, obviously, if we had an expert, maybe the answers wouldn't be the same. I know you and I have discussed a little bit this report, and, you know, if there is other technologies out there that weren't discussed by the experts that provided the report to Mayor Levine Cava, I think we can actually serve as a benefit to her and to the commission by giving some of that information. And I think if we do it formally as a body, it always adds a little bit more, and it gives the mayor a little bit of cover, and maybe even Commissioner Diaz a little bit of cover to find another solution. So,
I'll share one today. I'll share one with you guys today. And I'll leave it with this is something that's out in Israel that's already out there. It's not here, but it's in Europe and in Israel. And I'll get one to and that's just when I was talking about the small footprint, and I'll put one out available. And this is just an example. I want to add something to what the mayor's saying, that if you all agree, I appreciate the attorney coming back with a more direct course of action, but I at least personally have full trust in both of you to start taking immediate steps if necessary, because times is of the essence, and just start doing what needs to be done.
Our
and then-
consensus, yeah, I
and
totally
come
agree
back
with
to
that. The
us and
consensus
come
is
back
not for
to-
you to wait till the next
No,
council meeting.
just start moving forward, and then
Right,
come
yeah,
back, give
right
us an
away.
update, and then if we got to take a bigger step, but I don't want to waste time. I have full faith in both of you, so you got my green light to move forward on anything that needs to be done.
Okay, perfect. I think that, well, is there any other questions that you may have of us, Mr. Manager, Mr. City Attorney, in the immediate?
I think the direction is pretty clear, Mayor.
Okay.
Perfect.
Claudia?
And then, all right, the only thing, I thank all of you for being here. Those of you that are going there tomorrow, I will be at my ENT because I didn't speak for 2 weeks. So unfortunately, I can't between council meetings.
Yeah.
But we appreciate all of you, being part of it. Even though we're the elected body, the reality is that all of us have to let all of the county commissioners and the county mayor know what our position is. So I hope that that those of you that can make it tomorrow are able to express yourselves and represent the position of our community as you've expressed it today. Okay, if there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Torres, good to see you. It's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a former, were you on the Doral Municipal Advisory Committee also? Yes. You were, right?
Yep.
So you were on the DMAC and the Community Council. Okay. He hasn't aged at all. Say hello to him.